Here's what the brand new poem's message shares with us today. So, to truly appreciate this morning spectacle, we really need to set the scene, right? And our source text paints this wonderfully cozy picture. It is early, like really early. The poet wakes up at exactly 5 a.m. on July 25th, 2026. He throws on a brand new wildlife t-shirt, which honestly is the absolute perfect thematic wardrobe choice for what's about to happen. Looking out of his upstairs window, he's instantly granted this front row royal box seat. The street is totally quiet, the human world is still fast asleep, but outside, nature's already putting on a full-blown show. That upstairs window basically acts as the perfect framing device, a lens through which the morning's drama is about to unfold.
And the action doesn't just happen all at once. It actually unfolds in distinct theatrical acts. At exactly 5 a.m., the street just begins to awake. Shortly after that, our first actors take the stage, the pigeons on the neighbor's rooftop right across the street. And then, a little later, the scene shifts slightly to a neighbor's garden where the magpies make their grand entrance. It's just a beautifully structured sequence. The neighborhood comes alive minute by minute, proving that, well, if you're willing to get up early enough, there is a carefully choreographed routine happening right outside your door.
Now, the comedy of our first major interaction is just brilliant. We've got this pigeon on the rooftop who is, as the poem notes, definitely in the mood for love. But things don't exactly go to plan. He starts by nodding his head with a companion for about a minute, really trying his absolute best to impress. Unfortunately, that first pigeon completely rejects his advances and just flies far away. But does our amorous pigeon blink? No way! He immediately tries his luck with the very next pigeon nearby. And what happens? That one scarpers as well. He got absolutely nowhere. It's just this hilarious, totally relatable little romantic comedy playing out right there on a suburban roof.
So, while the pigeon romance is completely falling flat, the rest of the stage is rapidly filling up with a massive volume and variety of avian characters. We've got those 4 rooftop pigeons we just mentioned, then down in the neighbor's garden, 2 magpies are waddling along, doing what they do best, looking for their breakfasts. Shortly after that, a few blackbirds appear on the scene, followed closely by a flock of sparrows. It's a bustling, super busy environment. The stage is getting pretty crowded, and every single bird is just full of energy and purpose as the morning gets going.
But just when you think this is purely a bird-watching experience, the absolute star of the show makes his grand entrance. The poet excitedly declares, "Then I spotted Cyril the Squirrel, and he put on an acrobatic show." Cyril is this brave little so-and-so who unexpectedly steals the entire spotlight. Suddenly, the attention shifts completely from the waddling birds on the ground and the rejected pigeons on the roof to a dynamic, high-energy solo performance.
So what exactly is Cyril's acrobatic show? Well, he starts by dangling on a telephone pole, which is something he has apparently done before. But this time, it's completely different from anything our poet expects. Cyril scampers all the way up that pole to the very top and just settles there. The observer is left watching from the window, highly amused but honestly completely confused, asking himself, okay, now what? After all, there is absolutely no food up there at the top of a telephone pole. Cyril isn't foraging, he isn't hunting, he seems to be climbing purely for the sheer thrill of the performance.
And here, the poem elevates Cyril from a simple garden visitor to a full-blown comic book superhero. After sitting at the top of the pole, Cyril decides to scamper headfirst down it again, like a proper little Spider-Man in his own wonderful way. But just as quickly, he crosses the street and completely disappears, literally exactly like Batman in the films. 1 second he's right there, defying gravity, and the very next second he has vanished into thin air. I mean, talk about a masterful, action-packed exit.
But hey, just because the star has exited stage left doesn't mean the show is over. Exactly 10 blackbirds and sparrows decide to take over the next scene. Pretty soon after Cyril vanishes, another rooftop is visited by these birds. All 10 of them decide to perch on one single TV aerial. Just imagine that visual for a moment. 10 little birds, all lined up, settling contentedly for a few minutes before each one inevitably leaves. It's this moment of calm, synchronized resting right after the high-speed superhero antics of Cyril the Squirrel.
The pacing really slows down now, shifting from action to a kind of mindful, observational curiosity. The poet continues to scan the local environment from his window. His attention is caught by a tiny bird on a nearby neighbor's fence. He wonders to himself if it really is a robin redbreast or not. And right after spotting that tiny bird, his eyes are drawn upward again, where he notices a much larger bird, also with a red chest, perched up on a rooftop. It perfectly captures that feeling of quiet nature study, doesn't it? Just noticing the details, comparing the sizes, and simply wondering about the different species sharing the neighborhood.
And now we reach the intimate close-up finale of our morning playbill. After seeing a few finches across the street, the action suddenly comes right to the poet's front door, or rather his window. A tiny finch lands on a telephone wire that is incredibly close to the upstairs window. It is so close, in fact, that it becomes an absolute treat for the observer. He is able to see the bird's brightly colored wings with perfect clarity. It's a quiet, beautiful conclusion to the morning's busy activities, bringing the beauty of nature literally inches away from the glass.
Which brings us to the overarching theme of this entire experience. The poem concludes with this wonderful, deeply satisfying realization: yes, it was a good day for Cyril and his fine feathered friends. And frankly, nature lovers, you really can't say fairer than that. This just beautifully sums up the entire explainer. You don't need an expensive ticket, and you don't need to travel to a distant, exotic wilderness to see incredible things. This immense, accessible joy is available to absolutely anyone who takes the time to sit quietly by a window at 5 in the morning and just watch.
So I want to leave you with this thought today. What kind of acrobatic show is nature putting on outside your window right now? Whether it's a superhero squirrel like Cyril, a love-learned pigeon, or a tiny finch showing off its colorful wings, there is a whole cast of characters waiting for you to notice them. Step away from the screen for a bit today, look out your own window, and enjoy the wonderful world of nature happening right in your own neighborhood.